Welcome back to the Educator's Pulse, everyone. This is episode 54, and I am your host, Suchata. Today, we are diving into a topic that is truly the heartbeat of modern education, strategies for teaching in multilingual classrooms. Whether you are in a bustling city school or a remote rural classroom, the chances are you are seeing a beautiful mosaic of languages and cultures every single day. Joining me today to unpack this complex but rewarding subject is a veteran in the field, Mr. Saroon, who has spent over 2 decades fostering inclusive environments for students from all walks of life. Welcome, Mr. Saroon.
Welcome so much, Suchata. It is an absolute honor to be here. You know, I often tell my fellow teachers that a multilingual classroom isn't a challenge to be solved. It's a gift to be unwrapped. When we see the diverse linguistic backgrounds of our students as assets rather than obstacles, the whole atmosphere of the school changes. I am really looking forward to sharing some of the practical strategies I've seen work wonders over the years.
I love that perspective, a gift to be unwrapped. That perfectly sets the tone for our discussion. But let's be honest, for a teacher standing in front of 30 students who speak 5 different languages, it can feel a bit overwhelming at first. Where do we even begin to bridge those gaps?
It begins with the heart, Suchata. The very first strategy is building an asset-based mindset through culturally responsive teaching. We have to validate their first languages. Imagine being a child and walking into a place where your primary way of connecting with your parents and your history is suddenly treated as something to be discarded. That's devastating. Instead, we should encourage students to use their home languages as a bridge to learn the new one. We call this translanguaging, and it is incredibly powerful for cognitive development.
Translanguaging, that's such a fascinating term. So you're saying we shouldn't tell them English only in the hallways or during group work?
Softly but firmly. Exactly. When students can discuss a complex scientific concept in their native tongue with a peer, they are processing the information. Once they understand the concept, adding the English labels becomes so much easier. It's about lowering the affective filter, reducing that anxiety that freezes the brain when you're afraid of making a mistake. When they feel safe, they learn faster.
That makes so much sense. It's about emotional safety first. Now, moving into the more tactical side of things, what are some visual or structural strategies teachers can use to help those who are still in the early stages of language acquisition?
Wisely, scaffolding is our best friend. I am a huge proponent of visual aids and anchor charts. If you're talking about the water cycle, don't just say evaporation. Show a video, point to a diagram, use gestures. Use sentence frames to give them a starting point. Instead of asking a student to describe a character, give them a sheet that says, the character feels blank because blank. It gives them the skeletal structure to hang their thoughts on so they don't get lost in the grammar while trying to express an idea.
It's like giving them a map instead of just telling them the destination. I remember visiting a classroom where the walls were covered in word walls that had the English word, a picture, and the word in 3 other languages. The kids looked so proud to see their own language on the wall.
Oh, that is so important. It signals to the student, your culture is welcome here. You belong. Another strategy I love is collaborative learning. Pair a newcomer with a language buddy who is a bit more proficient. It's amazing to see the empathy that develops between students. The more proficient student reinforces their own knowledge by teaching, and the newcomer feels less isolated. It's a win-win that builds a tight-knit classroom community.
But what about the silent period? I've heard many teachers worry when a new student doesn't speak for months. How do we support them without forcing them to speak before they're ready?
Comfortingly, that is a very common concern, Suchata. The silent period is a natural phase of language acquisition. The child is absorbing, listening, and mapping the new language onto their brain. With a gentle smile, we must be patient. We can provide nonverbal ways for them to participate, pointing to pictures, drawing their answers, or using thumbs up, thumbs down. We need to show them that we value their presence and their intellect, even if they aren't ready to produce oral language yet. Pressure only creates barriers. Patience creates bridges. Moved. Patience creates bridges. I'm going to write that one down. We are almost out of time, but I wanted to touch on the role of families. How can teachers involve multilingual families who might feel intimidated by the school system? Passionately. This is crucial. We have to reach out. Use translation apps, send home positive notes in their language, and invite them to share their traditions. Humbly, when a parent sees that a teacher respects their heritage, they become your strongest ally in that child's education. Education doesn't stop at the classroom door. It's a partnership between the home and the school. Joyfully.
This has been such an enlightening conversation, Mr. Saroon. You've reminded us that teaching in a multilingual classroom isn't just about linguistics. It's about empathy, creativity, and radical inclusion. Before we go, what is one final piece of advice for our listeners?
Reflectively, I would say celebrate the small wins. When a student who hasn't spoken all month finally says good morning, or when a group of students from different backgrounds figures out a puzzle together, savor those moments. With warmth, you are shaping the global citizens of tomorrow. It's hard work, but it is the most beautiful work in the world.
What a beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much for your time and your heart, Mr. Saroon. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to episode 54. Remember, every language spoken in your classroom is a new window into the world. Keep opening those windows. We'll see you next time on The Educator's Pulse, fading out with a smile. Goodbye for now.